Hello, let's just have a quick lesson today on the poem A Time to Talk by Robert Frost. When a friend calls to me from the road and slows his horse to a meaning walk, I don't stand still and look around on all the hills I haven't hoed, and shout from where I am, "What is it?" No, not there is a time to talk. I thrust my hoe in the mellow ground, blade end up and 5 feet tall, and plod. I go up to the stone wall for a friendly visit. So that's all there is to this poem, just these 10 lines. So clearly if there's only 10 short lines, each line is going to be very important and packed with some key information. So let's quickly go through it now. So immediately introduces first line, we've got a friend calling from the road. And he slows his horse to a meaning walk. Okay, so he's traveling by horse, this friend. And now the speaker of the poem says, I don't stand still and look around on all the hills I haven't hoed. So our speaker is hoeing. So to hoe the land is a farming practice. So he's doing some sort of farming. And so he sees his friend and he doesn't stand up and look at all the other work he has to do and shout from where he is, what is it? No, he doesn't do that. Because there's a time to talk. Yeah, there's always time to talk. So what he does is he thrusts his hoe in the ground. So he throws it into the ground, but he throws it blade end up. Okay, so if you're doing the work, you're putting your blade into the soil, so the blade would be down, but instead the blade is up. He's not doing any work anymore. He's just putting it down, and he plods and has a conversation with the friend. Okay, so this poem is really just talking about how you always have time to have a chat with your friend. Okay, it's as simple as that. So let's quickly just point out some techniques used in the poem. Looking at this fourth line, there's repetition of the h sound, h sound, on all the hills I haven't hoed. So I guess this alliteration maybe say conveys a sense of the tiredness and exhaustion of having to do work, on all the hills I haven't hoed. Another technique that I think is really interesting is if we look at the very end, there's a lack of a full stop. There's no full stop here. So it's like the poem isn't actually over yet. And I think what the Robert Frost is trying to do here is make it seem like the poem still has more to go. And it has more to go because there's still the conversation to be had. So there isn't actually more to the poem, but the fact that there's no full stop here makes it seem like there's more, and shows that there is more because of the conversation that's going to be had between the man and his friend. And it shows that if he doesn't have this conversation, then he's missing out on key information. The fact there's no full stop here shows there's more information to be had. So that's really the poem's message, is you have to have time to have a conversation with your friend so that you can hear important things and help them if they need it and so on. And now let's just quickly talk about the rhyme scheme. Do we think there is a rhyme scheme in this poem? It's a bit tricky. There is actually. If I just get the highlighter out, you can see road here rhymes with what? Hoed here. You can see that walk rhymes with talk. And I'll quickly do the rest. Round, ground. And I think we can clearly see talk, walk. So, what do we think is going on with this quite random placement of the rhymes? We can see that each end of the line has a rhyme somewhere else, but it's all a bit random. It's just thrown in wherever the poet seems to feel like it. And I think this is similar to the missing full stop technique. The effect of this is like, if you don't continue reading the poem, you won't ever find what word rhymes with it, with the word previously. And thus you miss out on some of the poem, you miss out on the finality of having the rhyme closed off and the exciting sound that that effect has. So what I'm trying to say here is that this technique of having the rhymes placed randomly and makes you continue reading and shows that if you stop reading or if you stop having a conversation, then you're missing out on key things and you're missing out on something that you'd like to hear. So again, that just goes back to the message of this poem of trying to encourage you to have more conversations with people and to not turn people away or just shout at them and ask them questions. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening to me talk about just these short 10 lines talking about how you should have conversations with people.